So we can all discuss what's happening in the business. We can all discuss what we can do. But before that, I just want to bring some attention to the doyen on the stage, which is Mr. K.B. Kachru. So Mr. Kachru को हिंदुस्तान की हॉस्पिटैलिटी का भीष्म पितामह मानते हैं. Are you all agreeable? So एक बहुत लोग बोलते हैं तो मैं फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूँ. आपने कहा थोड़ी हिंदी भी बोलिएगा तो इसलिए आपके लिए मैं आपकी इज्जत कर रहा हूँ उसमें. लेकिन एक ख्याल आया मुझे. तो some of us, you know, going back in the days, when Kapil Dev was about 30, 32, you know, he participated in an advertisement which was for Boost, and the words he used was, "Boost is the secret of my energy." Uske baad mein Sachin also said the same thing. So then somebody in the audience in another session said, Mr. Kachru must be asked saying, what is the secret of your energy? You're everywhere. You travel so much. You have a great network. Bureaucrats quake when you walk their corridors. You've set up this entire piece. Which is this goli, potion, cream that you've been able to get? And you must tell us where to get it from because we are not able to match it, sir. So which is that dash that is the secret of Mr. Kachru's energy? India wants to know.
Rattan, I'm already in the dock, so I don't know. Is it time for me to call it a day? No. To be honest, I think it's my passion, my love for what I'm doing some right things, doing some wrong things, and succeeding with what is the ultimate goal, I think, which is carefully trying.
This is patli gali. This is all, we are also trying to do the same thing, sir. वो कौन सी गोली या पोषण है, वो कौन सा powder है, which you must tell us about.
यार हमको
or we should call your wife up.
अभी भी मौका है.
Okay, let's move on. So, let me address the first question to Rajesh. And this is a two-pronged question. Wonderful listing in the NASDAQ, right? Surprised the whole world. Over the years, barring I think a couple of years where things were not so great, you've come up with segments, processes, technology applications in just about every distribution point or direction that anybody could think of. I mean, to my opinion, Booking.com is following through on what you guys are doing, and so all the others. I don't think they started it before. So, how does your structure work? Who puts it all together? Also now, you're doing some exceptional work with machine learning. Your wonderful young lady who's the representation of your AI, concierge, Myra, your bot that we were the first ones to come up with. How do these things come together? I mean, there is that much of intelligence and that much of experience and that much of broad breadth that a bit of a corporate ex-com can put together. How does this come together? Who searches it? Who comes with? Because a lot of, I think, people here are struggling to say, so what's next for me? But you guys keep nimbly moving with the present for the future.
Well, three of them are sitting right there. They are the ones who do it all the time and make us look good. But firstly, thank you for all these kind words. And there was, one statement probably would have made my day. Although I don't think it is true that Booking is following us. No, Booking has been actually a massive global behemoth that we've learned a lot from them. But we've been trying to do our bit over the years. So I'll tell you how I think it stems from the fact that at the very core of it, that your vision, your thought was to build a long-term sustainable business. And the way the execution takes place is it's always brick by brick, right? So if you are looking at building a particular segment, and when you spoke about IPO, I'll tell you in 2010, we were overwhelmingly air booking business, like 95% of the business used to come from air. But that was just the beginning, right? Because that was a segment that moved online. And our vision from the word go has always been that we wanted to be the service provider for travelers in India for traveling and whatever the needs of the travelers would be, traveling within India, traveling outside of India, and so on. So if you religiously and strategically carry on with that vision, and with consistency in execution, then things to start falling in place, like I said, brick by brick. But I have to give credit to the team, right? Because if you don't, it is not one person's job at all, right? I mean, you can think about it that you want to you had the idea and the vision, and Deep is the one who sort of came up with the idea, and the founding team, including me, a couple of others, we got together. But over the years, we built scalable, sort of structure with very able people as we were sort of scaling up the business, keep bringing them in, and then segment by segment, just keep addressing, keep solving the problem that was out there. And then that gives you the business outcome automatically, right? And the key is to do it at scale. And if you're not able to do it at scale, then the long-term sustainable business vision does not really fall in place. I think one of the key elements worth highlighting is, and maybe a couple of them. One is, of course, that you have to, and maybe they are connected with each other, is that you have to have larger group of people who would, and bring in more and more people, bring in more and more able leadership at the top, and keep bringing in talent and infusing new talent in the company. And for you to be able to do that, when you run your business, you start your business as founders, you have to let go a lot, right? So I think, and that has sort of, over the years, if I look back, maybe has worked out quite well. And it has helped us for us to be able to sort of scale. So I guess that's what I would say that has played out well.
So in your key maverick team, and some of them are sitting here, or the key leadership team, who would you consider to be your creative mavericks? Or all of them are?
Actually, each one of them, in their own capacities. And it is not necessarily, I must say, that it's not only the top leadership team. Okay. It is actually the next. So I'll tell you one very interesting thing that we do, and we've been sort of following it over the years, is to always look at the top 100 and 150 people. Who are the ones who are actually behind driving every quarter's goal, every year's goal, long-term vision, and so on? And make sure that you do whatever it takes in terms of just providing them the resources, in terms of giving them the guidance, in terms of motivating them, in terms of solving for what's in it for them. And make sure that you end up retaining that talent and keep nurturing them. And of course, infuse the new one as you need. And for that, what has also worked out, and when I said let go, it's not necessarily that you are at one point in time you're doing pretty much everything, and then you have to just keep letting go in terms of roles and responsibilities. But it's also about making sure that very important element of what's in it for them, that gets resolved. And that for us has been stock, has been equity, has been options, has been stock units, whatever name that you want to call it. And it's about giving them or sharing the success together, not necessarily only in talk, or giving them role and learning opportunities, but also making sure that they sort of also participate in the gains, right? Because, and if that happens, that I think works out very, very well.
Great. I'll come back to you. I have a follow-up question to this. Anil, I'll just go around, yeah? Congratulations, great IPO. people were waiting for this, I think, in the industry and outside the industry for very long. There were many remarks that were saying, "Kyun nahi hoga, hoga," whatever. And then a quick, if I may call it loosely, shift in direction, where you also went aggressively into management contracts, soft branding, and exceptionally, the mobility, and I think the pace has been quite exceptional. So, what's the direction change and why was that necessary? And if so, what is the learning or why it was not done before?
So I think it's the phase that I came in. I think the phase of, first of all, making sure we entered the hospitality industry pretty late. Oberoi's and Taj came in 1905 and 1906. Our first hotel came in 1976.
If Maurya had been left over with Oberoi, it would have never happened.
So 1976, I think the first 20 to 30 years, we built some fabulous assets. And that's quite a tremendous job that the company did to build their own, own brand, and ITC Hotels came about. I think there was a need when we felt that when you consolidated yourself, you got your own call centers, you got your own distribution, you got your own loyalty, you got your own people. Now was the time to step out and do what the others were doing, and that's when we started the path called the asset right. We said it's not that we will stop constructing, we'll continue to do that, but we now have the ability to go out and manage others' assets, which tremendously helps you scale up the business. And that's how the brand called Story came about. That's how the Mementos came about. We are entering into the branded residences space. We got into food takeaway services. So I think is the need of the hour which got us going. And there's definitely a lot of market to cover. Well, you say the pace is good, but I still feel that we can run much faster.
All CEOs say that.
We've signed like 60 hotels in the last 2 years. We've opened 29 across all brands. So it's a very interesting phase actually what India is going through right now. There are plenty of opportunities for all the brands.
And sorry, with your permission, can I add one more thing? When you become public, then there's also growth pressure.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I remember at one session, which was, I think, last year maybe, and when you were on stage and I was in the audience, you said, we are learning how to manage owners, a skill that we didn't have.
That's absolutely true.
So say more about it, because it's a group of people who also have asset-light models. What was the learning, and why was it necessary to run?
So I think when the brand we actually ran was Fortune, Mr. Kumar is sitting here. He was the one in our company who was actually technically managing a brand which managed the assets for other owners. But there was no formal education. There was no formal setup. We ran our own trails. We dealt with our own people. We dealt with our challenges. We had to report to our CMCs or our management committees. When you start dealing with owners, somebody mentioned it earlier also, I think he's trusting you with his property. He's giving you the asset in your hands. You got to guard it. You got to, you promise him certain amount of GOPs and EBITDAs. You need to make sure that happens. So it's not just management of an owner. Owners can be, I've always told them, I always still believe that any hotel that you run, we are two sides of the same coin. If the operator and the owners do not get along well, it's not going to happen. I must say this, because when we opened this new brand called the Mementos, our first hotel was in Udaipur, and this owner trusted me when we didn't even have the brand announced. After several meetings, he agreed that, okay, we'll sign with you. And he said, I'll leave no stone unturned on the property, and I think he's done a remarkable job. A property which is 20 kilometers away from where people want to get married, and commanding similar kind of price what anybody around the lake would. So it's a matter of trust, and you need to make sure that you live up to that trust. That's most important.
Suresh, it's all your fault. Sikha ke nahi gaya. That's the problem.
No. But at the same time, today, it's not just these large owners. I can see today the small owners. It is no longer the game with large business houses who will spend crores. Today, there are 3 friends getting together, opening a Story which costs them 50 crores, for example. And when they come and sit with you over 5 to 6 meetings, they want to understand what are the returns going to be. So those opportunities are tremendous. And it's not management. I think it's the way you, maybe I didn't interpret it well last time, but...
No, because the question didn't go through after that, so that's why I remember it.
Enjoying the journey to, win their love and trust is fantastic.
When I was doing that, I used to always say the complication of a 20, 30 key hotel in how much cerebral time it takes from you is the same as if you were running a 200 luxury. There's no difference in what effort and time and thinking process and motivation that you need to put into it. I'll come back with my second. Mr. Kachru, you the one who started all this, right? Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, all owners love you. I mean, I have never heard anything different. What was that skill in you, barring the portion that we will talk about over a drink, that makes you better than anybody else at making this huge family of owners, which has benefited Radisson, but I think most of the credit to whatever I've heard and I've learned over 40 years is truly something in the skill that you have. And if you could tell people simple parts of that skill that made you successful.
You know, when I'm sure a lot of you know that I was working for the government earlier, and when I moved to private sector, I had never done development in my life. I was just hardcore operations, and I was looking after tourism development. But no development of hotels, and I got an opportunity, so I moved along, and I was based in Singapore. I'm giving you the background how one gains confidence and learns, and how you make mistakes. So the precondition for my new job was that I should be based in either in Hong Kong or Singapore, not anywhere else, because they felt an international brand at that time can't be based for South Asia in Delhi or Mumbai. I had no choice. I actually didn't have a job, so I agreed to move. And I was given the entire territory. We set up hotels in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and even Mauritius at that time. What I learned was there are two sets of ownerships. I'm talking about 30 years back, little over that. One which was making hotels for ROI. Rightly, that's the right way to go. And there was a set of owners which were building hotels for ROE. They wanted return on ego. As some of the speakers earlier, narrated a few stories about it, and they wanted to position themselves right. I know somebody said, "वो बेटी की शादी कराना चाहता था, तो उसने कहा होटल बना लूँ, मेरी positioning हो जाएगी." That kind of situation was there. So we learned along the way that we have to find a mix. But what was the most important thing which really helped me was gaining the trust of the ownership. Unless you can feel the pain of the person who is writing the check, you can never make it. You can never gain the trust. We may give all kinds of narrations and, say we are doing an excellent job and we'll give you this EBITDA and we'll give you this. I think you have to learn to hold hands in difficult conditions, even if it's against your own company. You have to exhibit and you have to actually prove that your judgment or your recommendation is correct. That was one step which I feel, because of I had worked in the industry for a long time and fortunately had good networking even at that time. So we selected some right partners to start with who trusted in us, particularly for the first hotel we built. It was a good-sized hotel, 250-room hotel, and there was no hotel in South Asia at that point of time. And when I gave him the first presentation, he had seen some hotels in US at that time under this brand. So he told me, can you meet some of my other investors? So I went to meet one particular gentleman, and I gave him a presentation. I said, Radisson. His answer was, मैंने राधेश्याम का नाम नहीं सुना कहीं. So that's how we started, and we built. I think what gave Radisson an advantage over others was I wouldn't call it we bet on India. We saw India as a huge opportunity. There was nothing happening in state capitals, nothing happening in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. No international company was ready to go to these towns at that time. So we selected a place which didn't open. I wish it was our first hotel from personal point of view, but it opened. Second was a hotel in Kachru. In Jammu and Kashmir, that was our first hotel we opened. And our partner in London, who has 10 hotels in London, he told me, "Tusi Punjab nu kyun nahi vekhde ho?" So I said, "Kahan, Chandigarh?" He said, "Nahi, tusi Jalandhar jao, Phagwade jao, Ludhiana jao." So, I mean, I couldn't imagine that something can actually be done there. So I said, "Why are you pushing?" And he had 10 very successful hotels with us in London. He said, "You know, there's a lot of clientele coming out of India and they're not staying in our hotels. I want brand visibility." I learned this from them, that brand visibility is as important as the capital. Today, we have 14 operating hotels just in Punjab. Wow. And I give the entire credit to people who actually advised us the right things at the right time. And the initial team, as Rajesh said, you know, it's people's business, it's people who make it. They're the people who believed in themselves and believed what can be done with India's tier 2, tier 3 cities. 50% of our hotels, we have 245 hotels at the moment in India, 50% are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
We go a little differently. Anil, ITC Hotels, one major stance or the major focus area has been sustainability, environment, as also a brand promise of ownership. As you look around you, other brands, other hoteliers, quick ones so that we can keep the time. What are the two things that ITC Hotels is doing and you're disappointed because it's something that everybody should be doing, that you would advise other hoteliers to do, which has succeeded for you, but you're surprised that they don't do it?
I think sustainability, when ITC Hotels started thinking about, was a word which was not really heard of. You know, 2009, if I remember correctly, when ITC Gardenia was being launched, and that is the time when, our CEO that time, Mr. Anand, coined this word called the responsible luxury. The team that time debated whether if you want to be known as a sustainability company, would you want to be known as a luxury company? And then they coined the word called responsible luxury, and that's how the first LEED Platinum hotel came about in ITC Gardenia. And thereafter, I don't think we stopped. We realized the importance for sustainability. We have a job to do, and we are an industry which is known to be a industry which is of indulgence. Yeah. So we love doing. You need those long showers, and you need to have a lot of food on your table, and that kind of stuff. So you're known for that. But how can you do that responsibly? Was the question. So thereafter, I think we have the largest companies who have 24 LEED Platinum hotels. 12 of our hotels now are LEED Carbon. 12 of our hotels are LEED Water. So sustainability, I think, became part of our DNA. Today, when a management trainee joins, I think he probably understands sustainability more than what I did when I joined as a management trainee. So it's become part of the culture now. So it's quite interesting, and it's not just about getting a certification of LEED Platinum and putting a poster outside. I think it's the whole knowledge that you must possess, and you must. When we opened ITC Gardenia, people didn't understand that, and when we explained to them that this is the first hotel which is going to be having a non-air conditioned lobby, and then you compare it to another large hotel in the city, our consumption is 25% lesser. That is the kind of output which comes back.
So, from what I know from the past, LEED certifications, a lot of effort, fair amount of capex, but also expensive to do.
But there's great.
I'm
ROI.
not arguing the benefit. Now that you've got the soft brands and the management principle, is there a, how should I say it, sustainability light model that you tell those owners, because they can't do what your own hotels can do? So have you modeled it accordingly?
Yes. So there is definitely a model which is available, which we speak to them. See, when you pick up a greenfield hotel, you're able to implement a lot. But when you're picking up a hotel which is like brown and almost there, then it becomes a difficulty. I have a whole list now which is available on plant and machinery, which you said capex is expensive. Yes, it is, no doubt about it. But when you calculate the returns which are available to you post 6 to 7 years, you completely understand what is it that you need to do on that front. So owners are coming forward.
Okay. Rajesh, as I said, you've been the nimblest in the modern practices, both for the customer and a larger, wide variety of services. Hospitality has been very slow to adapt. Lots of announcements, lots of pronouncements, but not too much detail or sieving of what it is. What are two simple things that you would like everybody to concentrate on, saying the ROI will come? Because, everybody's just rolling around the whole thing, and I hear a lot of things in different formats. The two things that you think they could do, which would benefit them, and you're surprised that they don't.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you about a couple of things that they can do. And over the years, I think we've been sort of preaching and trying and working with the partners to get to that. But before that, I just wanted to add to what Anil was saying. Because sustainability, as you rightly pointed out, is super important. I think future, in the previous discussion also, we were talking about hygiene, we were talking about sanitation, we were talking about green initiatives and so on. I want to take this opportunity to cite an example where we tried to do something and we want to do more. MakeMyTrip Foundation has been doing stuff on green initiative, waste management and all, but very humble. But what Anil and team has been doing is very, very inspiring. But what we wanted to do to make like a, bigger impactful stuff on our platform, given the number of hotels that as we have 100,000 hotels, over 100,000 hotels domestically, internationally, I don't know how many. And domestically, we wanted to do that program and say, how do we sort of promote, create more awareness for the consumers, give some kind of a stamp of green hotel. And should we do it at scale and trying to promote that and send that message to the partners, and also consumers would sort of naturally, once they get aware, and we will continue to keep creating awareness, and it'll start to happen at scale. Unfortunately, failed miserably on that. And therefore, I'm just using this opportunity at this forum to sort of spread this word. And more, I'm sure Mr. Kachru, Anil and everybody, all of us, if we get together to have some kind of a playbook widely, published, so that more and more people, including your brown projects or the independent hotels, can adopt it. Because we thought we will start with a simple thing of self-certification. It ranked miserably. because what we were getting it back was that we were not sure that we were getting the honest declarations, right? So if you don't bring in exactly the hard facts that you're doing at your hotel, and we put it on platform, that's obviously misleading for the consumers. So if we can actually build on this initiative in the hospitality industry and spread it across, and the moot point here is that they need to know the playbook. They need to know potential ROI. Like Anil was saying, ROI does come, and people want to do it. And I can tell you from consumers' point of view, I think more and more, you'll be surprised the amount of awareness that's happening. Now, coming back to your question, right, very quickly, I think the biggest one, I'll tell you, and I've said this pretty much, I think, over the years in every forum, is the tech adoption. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't have a problem, when we got into it, because we were a tech-led business. So obviously we would be thinking, breathing, investing behind tech. But the industry was brick and mortar, focus on people, hospitality, etc. So that was their core competencies. But the disappointment was that the adaptation, people were not adapting to this real change and would not see it coming for the longest time. And therefore, we were ready to invest behind, build technology, give it to them, at least from a digitization of inventory standpoint. And I'm talking about now history, we've come a long way. But it wasn't an easy journey, right? See, large branded hotels, etc., they obviously got it naturally, because not only Indian big chains, but also global chains, because they inherited what was happening in the evolved worlds, evolved markets as well. But a lot of the independent properties, a lot of the smaller segment properties, etc., were not able to do it. Now we've come while I think we've enabled them to come a long way, but I can just tell you there is tremendous amount of headroom, even now, right? And sometimes we just get caught into our own web of complexities and saying, getting into who's becoming bigger, not bigger, what is going to be the benefit, not going to be the benefit, and massive amount of inertia. But in tomorrow's day and age, which is going to be powered by AI, and yes, a lot of the ecosystem is in denial mode, but I can tell you that's coming, and that's already here. That's only going to accelerate, and it is bringing in huge amount of sort of power along with it, which you could leverage for your benefit. So if we were already behind in technology, and and now the AI is coming on top of it, if we do not really invest behind it, we do not really embrace it, we do not put that as core part of your strategy, I think we are going to suffer, right? Because there are evolved markets, the way call it physical AI, call it labor AI, is evolving in such a pace. I was just speaking on another forum just before this, and I was actually talking about, on this topic. There are trillions of dollars, like the size of the country is being invested behind AI. So innovation is bound to happen, right? So I think I would love all the partners to embrace as much as they could, and whatever possible that we could help with, we would be absolutely very willing to help with that.
So wouldn't you like all of them to, let's say, work with you together and find the opportunities together? So, because this is a subject that's beyond hoteliers, right? And then, of course, the funds, etc., any investor asks for, so what's in it for me? But if they could enable it together, they could find the 3-4 critical modules and collaborate on them rather than trying to beat the other one for the competitive reason, which gets no one anywhere.
Couldn't agree more. And you said it, what we've been actually, it has been almost like, for a lack of a better word, sales pitch from our side. That please come together, we will collaborate, we'll work together, and we'll make it happen. And I have to say, it's not that a lot of people have not really been collaborating, and there are plenty of, we've come a long, long way. But I think there's a lot that can happen. Because if we do it at scale, and we would be absolutely willing to collaborate, co-invest, work together, whatever it takes. There is absolutely no problem on that. Because, and some of that model is, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel, because that's already in place. Some of the close partners, we already work very, very closely. So we just have to replicate that playbook.
A question to all three, and we can go in any order that you like. You're all, success stories is a simple word to use. Was there any point in time during your journey where you said, oops, I don't think I can do it anymore? Okay? And what would you have looked at as an alternative? Or did you just have a sailing ride and said, the ride was brilliant, there were no storms, there were no such feelings?
No. There's nothing like that. Success is, it's not a destination. You learn and you fight it out, and you wake up every morning and say, okay. But I think what really matters is the perseverance and your passion. And if you like hospitality, I always tell this to a lot of youngsters. I said, when you join us as a management trainee, you'll get to know in first 1 year of being on the shop floor whether you like people business or you don't. If you don't like it, too bad. I personally love people. I was born in a very small family, but I wish I was in this large family format. I love people around me, so I love hospitality. I still love going to work in the morning. I'm quite enjoying the ride. So
हम जर्नी की बात कर रहे हैं यार, कोई तो
जर्नी में तो बहुत सारे
बॉस स्ट्रक्चर कहीं तो पंगा हुआ होगा ना यार.
जर्नी में ऐसा नहीं था कि you will give it up, because otherwise I don't think this journey from a management trainee to a managing director would have been possible. It's a long ride, and it can be very rough in between. It tests you mentally, physically. But if you've decided that you need to be there, then you got to be there.
No, so when it was testing you physically and mentally, what was the alternative that ever came into your mind?
No alternative came to my mind.
Chalo.
Physically, it was always on the shop floor. Mentally, is today.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Mr. Kachru, you and I have had this discussion earlier. So,
yeah, I've had a good ride. I can't complain. I have been very lucky from that point of view. The only time was when I was pushed to the wall and had to quit government to join private sector. I honestly didn't have a choice, because I was not IAS or IFS that I could be transferred from one department to another one. And I realized that at that level, when I was heading the organization, and I would be taken at the same level by our ComSet, I realized it, and that was a very difficult moment. And my mentor is here, Mr. S.K. Mishra.
yeah, you've spoken about him before.
Mr. Mishra is here.
Warm welcome, sir.
He was the person, at that time, he was the most important bureaucrat in the country. He was principal secretary to the Prime Minister. He stood by me, and in fact, he's the person who actually introduced me to Radisson. And thank you, sir. Where I am today, I think I owe it to you. Thank you.
Rajesh, any plunging ships, or it's been a rocky one but a good one?
No, I'll tell you, my personal journey is almost synonymous to make my trip journey, and I must tell you, there were plenty of oops moments. As you can imagine, right? When you do a startup, starting from when we started back in the days 26 years ago in 2000 to 2005, we didn't even know whether we will exist or not, we will survive or not. So those were near death situations. There were plenty in the first 5 years. But what kept us going, and God has been kind, very thankful for that, was the conviction in the model. And the question in our mind was, Not that whether this will happen or not. I think it was only a question of time. So which effectively meant that you had to have patience. In the test of patience was galore. Because it was an opportunity loss. See, we, all of us, the founding team, Deep, me, Kayur, Sachin, we were all professionals. We were not straight from college. So there was a huge opportunity cost for all of us as well.
If I may ask, what were you before? And I've read it, but that's for everybody.
Yeah, so I'll tell you about myself. So before 2000, I had one dry run of a sort with startup, but that was 1 year. But 5 years I was with IT education industry. Again, I was very lucky. I was with AppTech. I'm sure you heard about AppTech and IT back in the days. Used to be fierce competition. And then I started my career with Voltas, which was Tata Group company after completing my CA. So that was pretty good professional stint before MakeMyTrip happened. And then after that, this journey started. And more recently, and the test of resilience, as I think Anil was alluding to, was COVID for all of us, right? The entire industry. It was for many and all of us, there were insecure moments, there was, near-death kind of situation, very, very taxing situation, business-wise, personally, health-wise, environment around you. Couldn't have been actually more taxing. But early in the days, 9/11 happening, SARS pandemic happening, 2008 crisis happening, you name it. There were plenty. It's just an over the years, I think, maybe back in the days we were stubborn, now you can say resilient. But never giving up attitude and having conviction in your in your model kept us going.
So well said. I think the never giving up attitude is what has stood the three gentlemen in good stead. And I think that should be the same that all of us should apply to all in daily lives, our family life, and our environment, because there will be ups and downs. But if you're determined, like Anil said, that there is a certain part that you deeply, deeply enjoy, then you'll ride the tide any which way. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being a patient audience. Thank you.